Hello YouTube, this is Galactic Marine 501 slash Wolfexia, and today I'm going to be reviewing my 3 favorite G.I. Joe figures of all time. 2 of them are my favorite because one of them's my favorite because of a really old sentimental significance to the character. One of them's my favorite because he's my favorite character in the show, who you probably know who is if you watch my Snake Eyes reviews. And one of them is my favorite because of the figure and because of the epic amount of accessories that he comes with. So anyway, the first figure is Barrel Roll. Start with him. Now actually, he's got quite a bit of armor. He starts out with this little pad here. It's a backpack slash, I guess, butt pad. Or brace. Actually, I'm going to say it's a brace for the because he is going to have a wing pack strapped to his back. Now his gun unfortunately got warped, but it's still like I want to say silenced submachine. I want to say submachine gun, but I'm not sure. They have the barrel of a Browning and the body of a pistol with a block in the center with a scope on it, so it's really not even a... Yeah, it looks like the body of a Navy Colt with a thing set on top so that you can potentially attach it to... potentially attach a knife backwards to it. Yep, that actually works. There we go. Just made that even more ridiculous. And a block with a scope attached to it, and the fold-out stock from the RX-79 ground type Gundam. That's what it looks like to me, but that's because I know what the RX-79 ground type Gundam is, which most of you may not. Now, this figure was one of the few figures that I have that had Kung Fu grip. If you notice, his knuckles are, and his hand would open, and that made holding the gun really easy. Just spread his hand open, put the gun onto his finger, then close his hand, and then he could hold his gun. He could hold the barrel with the other hand, which I think is why it warped over time, because he was holding it like this, and his other arm got bumped. So there he is holding his gun. Now, this would not be barrel roll if he didn't have some way to propel himself, also known as a wing pack. Actually, the first G.I. Joe I ever got was the Spy Forces barrel roll, who had a wing pack that had 2 different modes. Remember, the G.I. Joe mode had a much more militaristic look to it. It looked a lot more realistic. It looked slightly like this, and then the Cobra mode had wings. You basically popped the wings off and put them underneath so they were slanting down at an odd angle. And then you put a Cobra lice, not Cobra lice, a Cobra like insignia on the back, which looked really odd and out of place. And I also remember, am I missing a missile for this guy? Oh, nope, I'm not. I was missing a missile for the Battle Android Trooper, which is odd, because he only had 4 missiles, this guy has 6. But I've had him for 5 years, whereas this guy only, like, 3. And so, yeah, he does have the opening gimmick where you pull this. Then you could have the missiles drop off one by pushing this back tab in, and then they'll drop off. I'm not going to do it, because I remember they were pegged on quite hard and would fly off if you did it. Now, next, I have my favorite character in the show. This may end up just being a 2-figure review, because... no, I only have 4 minutes. My favorite character in the show, Long Range, who I didn't know this before I watched the show. He's actually Mexican. That's odd. He has a pistol which he doesn't hold rather well. Try his other hand. He still doesn't hold it rather well. I mean, he can use it, but he's never going to get his trigger finger on. He also has this assault rifle, which has a big scope on it, which is good, which is cool. And actually the scope, as a matter of fact, is removable, so you can just have this, which looks slightly like a railgun because of the flat top. And less so with the scope. But then you could actually pop this, take this, and plug it into the side of his massive LRMS, I believe, which was long-range missile sniper. And yes, this thing fired rockets. He could snipe things with rockets. And he did use this in the show at one point. Actually, you never see him transported because it's apparently so heavy that he can't move. That in order to snipe accurately, he needs a stand that he can stand up while sniping. And so he would apparently just sit on the ground, and this thing would be the stand because it's so freaking huge, or he would stand up and use the stand. Now, I remember in the show, this stand was different. I think it was a monopod instead of a bipod. But yeah, you can hold it rather well, rather show accurate, I believe. And actually, I seem to remember that he was wearing his normal coat when he used this weapon, and that the ghillie suit that he's wearing now was actually for a completely different episode, in which he actually had his normal sniper rifle, so good job there. I guess they wanted to give you his alternate costume too, but didn't want to give you 3 figures. So, of a character that was not everybody's favorite. And there. And actually, I think storing the assault rifle slash just normal gun on the side, I think that's actually accurate too. I do believe he had his pistol on him in this episode too. No, actually, the more I think about it, the more I think he did have the ghillie sniper suit. Because I remember thinking, wow, this guy looks a lot like the GM sniper. Because the GM snipers were basically giant robots with a green camouflage covering over them that had big sniper rifles and sniped ships, whole ships, as they tried to land. Which was awesome, by the way. Watch Gundam if you like giant robots and giant robots sniping freaking ships. Now, this guy had a pretty awesome gimmick. He fired not 1, but 4 of these missiles, and the way you reloaded them, you can see from the front there are 2 of the pods open. Now you just slap the missile into there and push it in. You gotta make sure you push it in all the way because it'll jam if you don't. Well, it'll jam right now. I'll fire it again. If you don't... oh, crud. There. If you don't push it in all the way, you'll go to load it, and it'll basically just... oh. That was interesting. Oh, I see. Haha. That was odd. I just shot my computer screen. Probably should have done that while it was unloaded. There. That's better. Okay. Well, yeah, he did shoot 4 missiles from that. And I believe that the chamber was different in the show. Like, he didn't have just 4 missiles. I believe it was a perfectly round chamber. But, whatever. You know, they're going to incorporate a gimmick into every gigantic weapon that a G.I. Joe has. And that was this guy's. Now, next, I believe this figure is actually from the same episode as the giant missile sniper, which was an episode where Duke leaves for some reason. He goes on a top secret, like, one-man mission, and I believe Snake Eyes I believe the Arctic Snake Eyes was actually no different episode. But Snake Eyes was gone too for some reason. So Tunnel Rat, Long Range, and Heavy Duty were left in charge of the base. Actually, no. Snake Eyes, Scarlet, and somebody else. I don't remember exactly how it went, but I remember, like, in the climactic battle, everybody was like, oh god, we're losing. We're gonna lose our base. Oh no. And then you saw, basically, a parachute deploy, and then you saw Hero come down in wearing the helmet. You didn't know who it was yet. However, because of his gun, you could make suspicions that it was, in fact, Duke. Now, he didn't have the face paint, but the face paint is cool. I like it. And the helmet, I believe, is show accurate. And he was wearing a blue suit in this, a blue parachute suit, instead of his traditional gray suit. But yeah, if any of you who are fans of Duke at all will know that he had this pistol, which transformed into this assault rifle, and then transformed into this assault rifle with a knife bayonet. And actually, I think he had a few other different things that his pistol could hook into, too. Like, I have one of them, which didn't come with Duke. It came with an underwater character. I forget his name. But Duke had an underwater armor, and he had a gun that was like a torpedo gun that his pistol hooked into, which is cool. And here's his gun, his assault rifle. However, he also comes with Snake Eyes' assault rifle, I think. No, Tunnel Rat's assault rifle. Tunnel Rat's pistol. Four of the standard G.I. Joe grenades, and Spirit Iron Knife's tomahawk. Which, this guy was a special edition figure, and he was like a box-packed, like, Toys R Us exclusive, so that explains the reuse of accessories. And I think this helmet was actually Barrel Roll's helmet. No, Barrel Roll came out after. I believe this helmet had some other purpose before it was the... No, but then again, I remember this from the show. But I also remember the only thing he had was his gun, his normal gun. And the way you armor this guy up is you put the tomahawk into one of the pistol holsters. Which, yeah, they're both pistol holsters. You could get 2 pistols into here if you wanted. If you had another pistol, you could do it. But Duke's pistols, I don't think they work. I'm gonna try, though. Pop it out of the assault rifle. And, of course they work. It's a generic holster. But I guess I'm just an idiot. But yeah, they do hold the pistol, the normal pistol, well. But you don't, if you want to get all of the armor into this guy's, onto the parachute, you're gonna need that thing to be holding the tomahawk. But yeah, first you can put the pistol into his hand, his normal pistol into his hand, put the tomahawk back into there, because it's the easier one to get out. Oh yeah, the tomahawk does split into 2, just like the original Spirit Iron Knife. So you can throw 2 different tomahawks instead of just 1. Or cut off both of the... I believe the reason he would have an axe is so that if he needed to get out of the harness really quickly, he could just chop it instead of trying to undo the fasteners. And he also came with, this guy, I think, relied a lot on the Tunnel Rat figure. Because he has a modified Tunnel Rat harness as his main harness. He has 4 of Tunnel Rat's grenades, Tunnel Rat's assault rifle, Tunnel Rat's pistol, and yeah, his own rifle, and then Spirit Iron Knife's pistol as well. Or no.